The cake knife slipped from Elias Thorne's fingers, clattering against the porcelain plate like a gunshot in the hushed backyard of their Maple Creek rental. Jasper's 8th birthday balloons bobbed lazily overhead, their cheerful reds and blues mocking the sudden frost in the air as Brock Harlan, Elias's alpha of 12 years, the man who'd scented him through heat after heat, turned from the crowd with his ex, Kendra's hand clasped in his like a lifeline Elias had never been. "It's her, Eli," Brock murmured, voice thick with regret that tasted like betrayal, his blue eyes avoiding the Omegas as confetti swirled in the Pacific breeze off Puget Sound. In that instant, as their son froze mid-laugh with frosting smeared on his cheek, Elias felt the pack bond they'd built shatter, leaving him adrift in a world where alphas like Brock always chased the ghost of what was wild and unclaimed. Elias stood there, the backyard of the little craftsman house in Maple Creek blurring at the edges, as if the evergreens lining the fence were closing in to swallow him whole. The party had been his idea, a desperate grasp at normalcy after months of Brock's late nights at the lumber yard. His sense muddled with something sharp and unfamiliar, jasmine, not the pine and earth Elias had always known. Jasper tugged at his sleeve, small fingers sticky with blue icing, whispering, "Daddy, why's Papa holding her hand like that?" The question pierced deeper than any claw, but Elias knelt, forcing a smile that cracked like thin ice. "It's okay, buddy. Papa's just saying hello to an old friend." But it wasn't okay, and Kendra wasn't just a friend. She was the alpha's first knot, the one who'd bolted before Jasper's first cry, leaving Brock shattered and Elias to pick up the pieces in a dingy Seattle apartment that smelled of instant ramen and regret. They'd built something real here, in this sleepy suburb an hour north of the city. Soccer practices under drizzly skies, bonfires where Brock would pull Elias close and murmur promises against his neck gland, vows of forever sealed with bites that still ached in the quiet hours. Now, as Kendra's laugh cut through the murmurs of neighbors, good folks from the hardware store and the PDA, all pretending not to stare, Elias felt exposed, his Omega instincts screaming to submit, to beg, to do anything to reclaim what was slipping away. Brock finally met his gaze, stepping forward with that broad-shouldered swagger that had once made Elias's knees weak. "Eli, we need to talk. Not here, not like this." His voice was low, alpha rumble meant to soothe, but it landed like gravel in Elias's throat. Kendra lingered by the picnic table, her dark hair catching the late afternoon sun, looking every bit the city sophisticate she'd become in Portland, far from the rough-and-tumble logging camps where she'd first ensnared Brock. She was beta, not omega, free of the heats and swells that bound Elias to this life, and in her poised smile, Elias saw the allure. No strings, no sun tugging at coattails, just the thrill of reclaiming what she'd discarded. Jasper, bless his oblivious heart, darted off toward the piñata strung from the old maple, oblivious to the fracture lines spiderwebbing the air. Elias straightened, wiping his hands on his jeans, faded Levi's that hugged his hips in a way Brock used to appreciate with a growl. "Talk? At our son's party? You bring her here? Brock. After I spent all morning blowing up balloons and baking that damn cake from scratch because you said you'd handle the grill." His voice stayed even, a hard-won skill from years of suppressing the whine that threatened to escape his throat when alphas loomed too close. The pack, loose as it was in this modern world where scents mingled in coffee shops rather than dens, shifted uneasily. Old Harlan, Brock's grizzled father from the mill, cleared his throat and busied himself with a beer, while Elias's sister, Mara, shot him a look from across the yard, her beta practicality urging him to bolt. But Elias didn't bolt. He never had. Not when Brock lost his job in the '08 crash and they couch-surfed through Tacoma. Not when Jasper's fever spiked at 3 and the ER bills piled like autumn leaves. He'd stayed, scented their nest with lavender and resolve, whispering to their pup that daddies always came home. Now, Brock's hand hovered near Elias's arm, not quite touching, as if afraid the contact would ignite the bond they shared. "She's back in town for good. Job at the university. And things have changed, Eli. You know that." The words hung heavy, laced with the unspoken. Kendra had never carried his child, never tied him down with the domesticity that chafed at an alpha's wild heart. Elias's chest tightened, a phantom heat coiling low despite the suppressants he'd popped like candy for weeks. He could smell it on Brock, the fresh spike of arousal, not for him, but for her, the one who'd gotten away. The piñata burst then, candy raining down like colorful shrapnel, and Jasper hooped, scrambling with the other kids. For a heartbeat, the yard filled with laughter, a fragile bubble against the storm. Elias seized it, turning to the guests with a nod. "Who's ready for seconds? Don't let the cake go to waste." Plates clinked, conversations restarted in fits, but the damage was done. As Brock pulled Kendra aside toward the fence, their heads bent close, Elias excused himself to the kitchen, the screen door slapping shut behind him. Inside, the house felt too small, walls papered in Jasper's finger paint masterpieces closing in. He gripped the sink, staring out at the Sound's gray expanse, where ferries cut white wakes toward Bainbridge Island. His reflection in the window was ghostly, hazel eyes shadowed, lips pressed thin, the faint scar from Brock's claiming bite peeking above his collar. 32 years old, and what did he have? A rental that leaked in the rains, a job at the local bookstore slinging bestsellers to tourists, and a son whose biggest fear was his parents unraveling like the frayed quilts in their linen closet. Mara slipped in, her boots soft on the linoleum. "You gonna let him do this? Waltz in with her like it's nothing." She was 2 years older, all sharp edges and no-nonsense Bob, the beta who'd moved back from Spokane to help when Jasper was born. Elias shook his head, throat working. "What choice do I have? Fight for scraps? Jasper needs stability, not a screaming match in the driveway." She pulled him into a hug, her scent clean like fresh laundry, grounding. "You deserve more than scraps, Eli. You're not some knot warmer from the old packs. This is America, for fuck's sake. Omegas have rights, lawyers, whole networks." Her words were fire, but Elias felt the chill settle deeper. Rights didn't mend a broken bond, didn't erase the way Brock's touch used to light him from the inside out. By dusk, the party wound down, guests drifting away with Tupperware of leftovers and pitying glances. Brock cornered him in the garage, amid stacks of Jasper's outgrown toys and the old Ford pickup that still bore the dents from their honeymoon road trip down the Oregon coast. "I love you, Eli. I do. But Kendra, she's my second chance at something uncomplicated." His alpha pheromones flooded the space, meant to placate, but they soured in Elias's nose, like milk gone bad. "Uncomplicated," Elias echoed, voice cracking for the first time. "What about us? 12 years, Brock." Jasper's face. "It's half yours, half mine. That's not complicated. That's family." Tears pricked, hot and unwelcome, but he blinked them back. Omegas didn't cry in front of alphas. It invited dominance, not empathy. Brock's jaw ticked, that telltale sign of his temper. "You knew what I was when we met. Wild blood, Eli. Loggers don't settle easy." He reached out then, thumb brushing Elias's cheek, and for a treacherous second, the bond hummed, pulling Elias under like a riptide. But he stepped back, the loss of contact a fresh wound. "Go then," Elias said, quiet as the fog rolling in. "But Jasper stays with me tonight. And tomorrow, we figure out the papers." Brock nodded, relief flickering in his eyes, relief that cut deeper than anger ever could. As his truck rumbled away, taillights fading into the twilight, Elias sank onto the garage steps, head in hands. The night air carried salt from the Sound, mingling with the faint jasmine that clung to Brock's jacket, a ghost that would haunt their home for weeks. Upstairs, Jasper was already tucked in, his small body curled under the quilt Mara had sewn, stuffed bear clutched tight. "Papa coming back?" he mumbled, eyes heavy. Elias slid in beside him, arm draping protectively. "Papa's got some thinking to do, Sprout, but Daddy's here, always." He breathed in Jasper's innocent scent, milk and crayons, and held on, the weight of single Omega parenting settling like an old coat. Outside, rain pattered the roof, a Seattle lullaby that promised nothing but the steady drip of tomorrow's unknowns. In the days that followed, Maple Creek's rhythm ground on, indifferent to the quake in Elias's chest. The bookstore, Haven's Page, a cozy nook crammed with mysteries and local lore, became his refuge, shelves of dog-eared paperbacks whispering escapes he couldn't afford. Customers trickled in, fishermen in oilskins, tech transplants from Seattle nursing lattes, all oblivious to the fresh claiming blocker patch Elias wore under his flannel, a bitter necessity to dull the bond's phantom pulls. Mara dragged him to coffee at the diner on Main, where vinyl booths stuck to thighs and the hash browns came with a side of gossip. Heard Brock's shacking up with her already. In that condo by the marina. Her fork stabbed a sausage link, emphatic. Elias stirred his black coffee, steam curling like unanswered questions. Doesn't surprise me. Alphas like him, always chasing the next peak. But inside, it gnawed. A hollow ache that woke him at 3 a.m. Sheets twisted, body feverish with suppressed need. He'd never strayed. Loyalty was woven into his Omega core, a thread pulled taut by years of Brock's absences. Jasper adapted with a child's resilience, chattering about school plays and kickball goals, but Elias caught the sidelong glances, the way his son scented the air for his alpha dad's return. Weekends brought supervised visits at the park, Brock showing up in pressed shirts that smelled of Kendra's perfume, tossing a frisbee with forced enthusiasm. "Miss you, pup?" he'd say, ruffling Jasper's hair, but his eyes skated past Elias, landing on his phone like a lifeline. One such Saturday, as autumn leaves crunched underfoot by the creek, disaster struck. Jasper, ever the daredevil, slipped on mossy rocks chasing a frog, ankle twisting with a sickening pop. Elias was there in an instant, scooping him up, Omega instincts overriding the pain of Brock's proximity. "I've got you," he soothed, even as Brock hovered, useless in his panic. At the urgent care in Polsbo, fluorescent lights buzzed overhead as the doc splinted the sprain. Jasper whimpered, clutching Elias's hand, and in that sterile room, with Brock pacing like a caged wolf, something shifted. "You should have been watching closer," Brock snapped, blame sharpening his tone. Elias's head snapped up, hazel eyes flashing. "Me? You're the one who dared him to jump that log." The words hung, venomous, and Brock recoiled as if struck. The drive home was silent, Jasper dozing in the booster seat, the Ford's heater blasting against the chill. At the drop-off, Brock lingered at the curb, rain sheeting the windshield. "This isn't working, Eli. The visits. It's tearing him up." "Tearing him up?" Elias's laugh was bitter, rain-slicked. "Or tearing you up because she doesn't like playing stepmom?" Brock's grip tightened on the wheel. "Kendra wants kids someday, but not like this. Not with the baggage." Baggage. The word landed like a slap, reducing their son to an inconvenience. Elias unbuckled Jasper with trembling hands, voice steel. "Then don't come back, Brock. We're done pretending." As the truck pulled away, Elias carried Jasper inside, the boy's weight an anchor in the storm. That night, tucking him in with stories of brave explorers charting unknown seas, Elias vowed silently, no more scraps. For Jasper, for himself, he'd chart a new course, even if it meant sailing alone into the fog. Weeks blurred into a numb routine, work, school runs. Microwave dinners warmed while scrolling Omega support forums on his ancient laptop. The bond faded to a dull throb, suppressants doing their job, but dreams betrayed him. Brock's mouth on his throat, not swelling, promises whispered in the dark. He'd wake sweating, hand-fisting sheets, arousal a cruel joke without release. Mara noticed, of course. "You need to get out, Eli. There's a meetup in Seattle. Omegas like us, building lives without alphas dictating the terms." She waved a flyer, edges curled from her purse. He scoffed, but the seed planted. On a crisp November Friday, with Jasper at a sleepover, Elias drove south on I-5, wipers batting rain, heart pounding like a drum. The venue was a converted warehouse in Capitol Hill, string lights twinkling against exposed brick, air thick with coffee and unbonded scents. Freedom, sharp and intoxicating. He lingered by the craft beer station, nursing an IPA, feeling out of place among the laughing groups. Young Omegas with fresh tattoos and older ones sharing war stories of divorces won. That's when he saw him, Riley Voss, leaning against a pillar, dark curls framing a face that held quiet intensity. Mid-30s, maybe, with warm brown skin glowing under the lights, a beta by his steady scent. No alpha dominance to overwhelm. Their eyes met across the room, and Riley smiled, slow and genuine, like he'd been waiting. "Hey," Riley said, approaching with a pint in hand, voice carrying a faint Texas drawl, soft vowels from somewhere sunbaked, not the rainy gloom of here. "First time? You look like you're casing the joint for exits." Elias chuckled, surprise loosening his shoulders. "That obvious? Elias, from up in Maple Creek." "Riley, transplanted from Austin a couple years back. Tech writer or something like that. Keeps the lights on." His eyes, deep amber, held no pity, just curiosity, and for the first time in months, Elias didn't feel like a specimen under glass. They talked, easy, meandering paths through favorite dive bars, the ache of raising kids solo. Riley had a niece he co-parented with his sister. The bullshit of modern packs where apps match scents like dating profiles. No pressure, no pheromones demanding submission. Just two men, unraveling threads of their lives over shared laughs and refills. As the night wound down, Riley walked him to his car, rain of fine mist. "This doesn't have to be a one-off, Elias. If you're game." Elias paused, key in the lock, the pull not of a bond but something softer, earned. "I'm game." Driving north, windows fogged, Elias felt the first crack of light in the gray. Hope, tentative as a seedling pushing through Seattle soil. The first text from Riley came at dawn. A simple photo of his Austin sunrise forwarded with "Miss this view sometimes." "Your turn." Elias, bleary-eyed over oatmeal with Jasper chattering about pancakes, snapped a reply. The sound shrouded in mist, fairies ghosting through. It felt trivial, this digital bridge, but it anchored him through the week's grind. The bookstore's holiday rush, with stacks of cozy mysteries flying off shelves to ward off winter's bite. Brock's absence echoed loudest in the silences. No heavy boots tromping mud across the threshold. No alpha growl teasing Jasper into bedtime giggles. Custody papers arrived via email, stark legalese that reduced their saga to bullet points. Visitation schedules, asset splits. Elias signed with a steady hand, mailing them from the post office where the clerk, an elderly Omega named Gertie, patted his arm. "Chins up, dear. Alphas come and go. Us Omegas endure." Endure. The word tasted like ash, but Riley's messages sweetened the days. Memes about bad bosses. A recipe for brisket that promised Texas soul in a slow cooker. They met again in Seattle, this time at a dimly lit jazz club in Belltown, where sax notes wove through cigarette haze and the crowd's murmur. Riley arrived in a Henley that hugged his lean frame, sleeves rolled to reveal forearms corded from weekend hikes. His scent earthy like cedar after rain. No demand, just invitation. "You clean up nice," Riley said, eyes crinkling as he slid into the booth. Elias tugged at his button-down, self-conscious of the faint Omega sweetness clinging despite blockers. "Haven't done this in, well, ever. Dates were never my forte." Riley leaned in, voice dropping to match the trumpet's low wail. "Then let's redefine it. No expectations. Just this music whiskey. You telling me why Maple Creek suits a city boy like you." They talked until last call, Elias unspooling tales of his youth in Tacoma's shipyards, Omega dreams deferred for community college, and a string of dead-end gigs. Riley shared his own. Beta born in a sprawling Austin family, out at 16, carving a path through code and copy until burnout chased him northwest. Needed space to breathe, he admitted, fingers tracing the condensation on his glass. Seattle's got that. Oceans and mountains reminding you life's bigger than labels. As they stepped into the chill, Riley's hand brushed Elias's, a question in the touch. Elias answered by lacing fingers, the contact electric without the burn of a bond. They kissed under a street lamp, slow and exploratory, Riley's lips tasting of bourbon and honesty. No knot, no claim, just the warmth of mutual choice, blooming in Elias's chest like the first crocus after frost. Back in Maple Creek, guilt nipped at his heels. Jasper noticed the glow, small brow furrowing over dinner. "You smell happy, Daddy, like when we get ice cream." Elias ruffled his hair, heart swelling. "Maybe we will this weekend. Extra sprinkles." But Brock's shadow loomed. He showed up unannounced at the bookstore midweek, flannel rumpled, eyes bloodshot from what Elias guessed was Kendra's polished world clashing with his rough edges. "Need to talk about Jasper's school fees. Things are tight." Elias shelved a thriller, spine cracking under his grip. Tight? Or did Kendra's condo come with a price tag? The words escaped sharper than intended, honed by nights replaying their garage fight. Brock's jaw clenched, alpha pride flaring. "That's low, Eli. We're trying to make it work." "Make what work? The fantasy you ditched us for?" Customers browsed nearby, but Elias pressed on, voice low thunder. "You chose her at his party, Brock. In front of everyone. Don't pretend this is about fees." Brock's sense spiked, dominant and distressed, drawing uneasy glances from the romance section. "I chose what felt right. But Jasper, he's mine too. You can't cut me out." The bell tinkled as a patron left, leaving them in brittle quiet. Elias exhaled, Omega calm reasserting. "I'm not cutting, but I'm not waiting anymore. Send the check to Mara's. And Brock, stay away until you figure out how to be a dad without the drama." He turned away, but not before seeing the crack in Brock's armor. Regret, raw and fleeting. Outside, rain lashed the awning, mirroring the storm in Elias's gut. Riley's text buzzed then. "Survived another stand-up? Dinner Friday, my place. Bring Jasper if you want. I've got a killer mac and cheese." Elias smiled despite the damp, typing back, "Deal. Kid's a cheese fiend." Friday arrived with a rare blue sky, sunlight gilding the evergreens as Elias navigated the winding road to Riley's cottage in West Seattle. Jasper bounced in the passenger seat, clutching a drawing of a dragon he'd insisted on gifting. Is Riley nice like Uncle Tommy? Tommy being Mara's beta husband, a gentle soul who fixed bikes and told bad puns. Nicer, Elias teased, though nerves fluttered. Inviting a child into this felt monumental, a step beyond stolen kisses. Riley's place was a storyteller's haven. Cedar siding weathered to silver, porch strung with solar lights, inside walls lined with books and vinyl records. He greeted them at the door in jeans and a faded Pearl Jam tee, crouching to Jasper's level. "Heard you like dragons. Check this out." He led them to a shelf where a carved wooden beast breathed painted fire, Jasper's eyes widening in awe. Dinner unfolded like a scene from one of those family rom-coms Elias shelved. Messy elbows on the table, Jasper regaling Riley with playground conquests, Riley countering with tales of Texas rodeos where bulls bucked like caffeinated earthquakes. Elias watched, fork paused midair, warmth spreading as Riley's foot nudged his under the table, a secret anchor. After Jasper crashed on the couch amid a Pixar marathon, they stepped onto the porch, mugs of chamomile steaming. The city lights twinkled below, fairies tracing luminous paths. "He's a good kid," Riley said softly, shoulder brushing Elias's. "Takes after you, curious kind." Elias sipped, vulnerability loosening his tongue. Brock was supposed to be here for this. The dinners, the stories. But he bailed for uncomplicated. Riley's hand found his, thumb stroking knuckles. Uncomplicated's overrated. Life's in the mess, the dragon drawings and late-night talks. You deserve someone who dives in, Elias, not dips a toe. The kiss that followed was deeper, Riley's body solid against his, hands framing Elias's face with reverence. No rush, no dominance. Just the slow burn of affection building like a hearth fire. Inside, Jasper snored softly, the TV flickering cartoons, and for the first time, Elias glimpsed a future woven not from obligation, but choice. The idol cracked the next week when Kendra appeared at the bookstore, all sharp bob and designer coat, a manila envelope in hand. Brock asked me to drop these off. Final terms. Her voice was cool, beta detachment a shield, but her eyes flicked over Elias with something like envy or pity. He took the papers, fingers brushing hers accidentally, her skin cool as marble. Thanks. Tell him Jasper's recital is Thursday, if he cares. She hesitated, heels clicking on the hardwood as she turned. He cares, Elias, more than you know. But alphas, we make mistakes. The door chimed shut, leaving her words to fester. That night, Elias burned the envelope after Jasper slept, flames dancing in the sink as rain drummed the window. Riley called, voice a bomb. Bad day? My sister's in town. Wants to meet the guy who's got me grinning like an idiot. Laughter bubbled up, unbidden. Tell her I'm the idiot. But yeah, let's do brunch. Brunch extended to afternoons in Discovery Park, Jasper collecting shells while Riley and Elias walked hand in hand, paths crunching leaves. Riley shared vulnerabilities. His ex, a possessive alpha who'd left scars deeper than skin. The therapy sessions that rebuilt him brick by beta brick. Thought I'd never trust again, he admitted, pausing by a driftwood bench. Then you show up, all quiet strength and hazel eyes that see right through. Elias leaned into him, head on shoulder. Same. Feels like I'm waking up after a long sleep. But shadows gathered. Brock cornered him after the recital, stage lights still buzzing in Jasper's ears, as the boy hugged his dragon plush. Saw you with that beta. At the park. His tone was edged, possessive alpha rearing despite the papers. Elias stiffened, Jasper's hand in his. None of your business, Brock. We're done. Not if it confuses the pup. Brock's eyes darkened, pheromones leaking control. He's got my blood. Needs an alpha influence. Jasper tugged, sensing tension. Papa, can we get pizza? Brock knelt, forcing a smile. Sure, kiddo. Daddy's just being stubborn. But as they walked away, his glare burned into Elias's back. A promise of storms brewing. Riley's place became sanctuary, weekends filled with board games and slow-cooked stews, Jasper dubbing him Uncle Rye after an epic fort-building session. One evening, as snow dusted the sound, a rarity in these parts, Elias found Riley in the kitchen, stirring cocoa, face thoughtful. Been thinking, Riley said, handing him a mug. About us. This. He gestured vaguely, encompassing the domestic hum. Elias's heart stuttered. And, Riley set his mug down, pulling Elias close. I want more. Dates, sure, but also the hard stuff, the school runs, the fevers at midnight. If you'll have me. Tears pricked, joy laced with fear. Brock's fighting dirty. Thinks he can claw his way back. Riley's jaw set, beta resolve steel. Let him try. I'm not going anywhere. Their lovemaking that night was revelation. Gentle explorations in Riley's bed, bodies aligning without the frenzy of heats or knots. Elias arched under skilled hands, gasps muffled in pillows, release crashing like waves on the shore. Afterward, tangled in sheets, Riley traced the claiming scar faded on Elias's neck. One day, if you want something new here, your choice. Elias turned, kissing him deeply. My choice. Finally. Christmas loomed, twinkling lights strung across Maple Creek's main street. But Elias's world tilted when Brock's call came. Slurred, desperate. Kendra left again. Said I'm too tied down. Eli, please. For Jasper. Come home. The plea tugged, old bonds whispering. But Elias glanced at Riley dozing beside him. Jasper snores from the guest room. No, Brock. Home's where we choose it now. He hung up, blocking the number, and curled into Riley's warmth, the snow outside blanketing sins in white. But betrayal's echo lingered, a prelude to the tempest ahead. January's grip tightened on Seattle like a disgruntled lover, sleet rattling windows and turning roads to glass. Elias woke to it one morning, Riley's arms slung heavy across his waist, Jasper's laughter filtering from the kitchen, where the beta flipped pancakes with theatrical flair. Catch the flip, kiddo, 3-2. Batter splattered the counter, eliciting giggles that chased the night's doubts away. But doubts had teeth. Brock's voicemail, left after the blocked call, haunted Elias's phone. A digital specter played on mute during Jasper's bath times. I messed up, Eli. Kendra's gone for good this time. We can fix this. Family. The alpha's voice cracked on the last word. Vulnerability Elias hadn't heard since Jasper's birth, when fear had stripped Brock bare. He deleted it, but the residue clung, souring the syrup on his tongue. Riley noticed, of course, over coffee as Jasper demolished his stack. Extravels. His tone was casual, but amber eyes probed gentle. Elias nodded, scraping plates. Wants back in, like flipping a switch. Riley's hand covered his on the sink. And you? Pause, water running hot. Tired of switches. Want steady. He leaned in, kissing Riley's temple, cedar scent grounding him. You. They spent the day at the aquarium in Seattle, Jasper pressing nose to glass as jellyfish pulsed ethereal, Riley whispering facts about bioluminescent depths. Like us, he murmured to Elias, fingers intertwined, glowing in the dark parts. But glow dimmed on the drive home when Elias's phone buzzed. Mara, voice tight. Brock's at the house, drunk, saying he's not leaving without Jasper. Heart slamming, Elias floored it, Riley's hand steady on his thigh. The rental loomed dark against the dusk, Brock's truck askew in the drive, headlights slashing rain. He pounded the door as Elias pulled up, alpha rage distilled to red-rimmed eyes when they spilled out. Give me my son, Brock slurred, swaying porchward. Jasper shrank against Riley, who scooped him up seamless, beta calm a shield. Elias stepped forward, voice omega firm. He's sleeping over at my sister's tonight. Go home, Brock. Sleep it off. Brock's laugh was jagged, pheromones flooding acrid, dominance unchecked. Your sister's? With that beta pansy holding him like a damn purse? Jasper's an alpha pup, Eli. Needs blood, not books. Riley stiffened, but Elias's glare pinned Brock. He's 7. Needs safety, not your benders. Mara arrived then, headlights sweeping, pulling Jasper inside with coos. Got this, bro cops if he pushes. Brock lunged, grabbing Elias's arm, grip bruising. You're poisoning him against me. The bond flickered, traitorously, pulling a whine from Elias's throat before he clamped it down. Riley moved like lightning, wrenching Brock's hand free, body interposing. Back off. Now. No alpha roar, just quiet menace, Texas steel in his stance. Brock sneered, but the sleet seemed to sober him, shoulders slumping. This ain't over, Eli. Court's gonna hear how you're whoring around while I'm fighting for us. He stumbled to his truck, engine roaring to life, taillights vanishing into the night. Elias sagged against Riley, tremors racking. Sorry. Didn't want you in this mess. Riley pulled him close, rain mingling with tears. Mess is relative. You're worth it. All of it. Mara filed the restraining order next day, courthouse and Port Orchard echoing with their footsteps, Jasper coloring in the lobby under a deputy's watchful eye. Temporary, she assured, but Elias felt the noose tighten. Brock's family connections in the mills, alphas who whispered in judges' ears. Riley stayed, cooking chili that warmed bones, reading Jasper bedtime stories with voices that cracked the boy up. That night, in the quiet rental, They made love fierce and reclaiming. Elias topping for the first time. Riley's gasps a symphony under him. Yours? Riley breathed, nails digging crescents, and Elias believed it, knotting tension with thrusts that chased ghosts away. But court loomed, a February date circled in red on the fridge. Brock lawyered up, Kendra's parting gift a referral to a shark from Portland. Elias scraped funds for his own counsel, a no-nonsense Omega attorney named Lena from Tacoma, who met them in a coffee shop fragrant with espresso and resolve. "Pack laws evolving," Lena said. Files spread like battle maps. "Modern rulings favor stability over blood. Document everything, the party, the drunk show. And this Riley? He's gold, steady witness." Riley nodded from across the table, hand under it on Elias's knee. "Whatever it takes." Prep consumed them. Affidavits typed late, Jasper's teacher vouching for his thriving, photos of forts and park days with Riley timestamped like evidence of joy. Elias's nights blurred, dreams of Brock's not turning to chains, waking to Riley's murmur, "Here, breathe." The hearing dawned gray, Bainbridge Ferry rocking them across the Sound. Jasper with Mara for the day. Courthouse smelled of polished wood and old grudges. Brock already there in a suit too tight. Kendra absent but her shadow in his scowl. The judge, a stern beta woman with silver streaks, called order, gavel sharp. Brock's lawyer painted Elias as flighty, Omega instability code for his dating Riley, implying neglect. "The child needs his alpha father, Your Honor. Unfettered access." Elias's turn came, standing at the podium, voice steady despite the quake in his chest. "Jasper needs love, not lectures on bloodlines. Brock chose his ex over our son's birthday, chose uncomplicated over us. I've built stability. School on time, meals hot, a home where he's safe to be a kid, not a pawn." Riley testified next, calm under cross. "Elias is the rock. I've seen it. Nights he paces worrying, mornings he smiles through. Jasper lights up around him, around us. That's family." Brock's rebuttal cracked, voice breaking on "I love my boy." But the judge's eyes narrowed at the party photos, the ER report from the sprain. Adjournment came swift. Primary custody to Elias, Brock's supervised visits pending therapy. Outside, rain held off, sun-piercing clouds as Elias hugged Riley fierce. "We did it." Brock lingered by his truck, defeated slump to his shoulders. "For Jasper," he muttered, "no fight left." Elias nodded, a bridge not burned but braced. Spring unfurled tentative, cherry blossoms dusting Maple Creek's parks. Jasper's cast off in a ceremony involving sidewalk chalk murals. Riley proposed a family hike to Rattlesnake Ledge, backpack stuffed with PB and JS, Jasper leading with a walking stick whittled by Riley. The trail climbed steep, switchback sweating effort, but views at the top, Cascade Peaks jagged against blue, rewarded. Jasper hooped, arms wide. "I'm king of the world." Elias laughed, pulling Riley aside behind a boulder, kissing him breathless. "My king," he whispered, hands roaming under flannel. Riley grinned, nipping his ear. "Careful, or the king's got a prince to chase." Picnics became ritual, extending to beach days at Alki, Jasper building sandcastles while Elias and Riley waited, waves nipping ankles. One evening, bonfire crackling, salt air thick, Riley carved their initials in driftwood E+R+J, tossing it to the tide with a wink. "Seals the deal." Elias's heart swelled, but old wounds itched. Brock's visits went smoother, therapy mellowing his edges, but Elias caught Jasper's confusion. "Why can't Papa live here too, Daddy?" Answering grew harder, words like grown-up choices ringing hollow. Riley sensed it one night over wine as Jasper slept. "Maybe it's time for that talk, about us making it official." Elias set his glass down, pulse racing. "Official how?" Riley knelt, not with a ring but a key brass, worn to his cottage. "Move in. All of us. Build the nest you deserve." Tears blurred, joy crashing. "Yes. God, yes." Packing commenced chaotic. Boxes labeled in Jasper's scrawl, Mara overseeing with bossy efficiency. Brock helped load the truck, silent labor penance, eyes lingering on Riley with grudging respect. "Treat 'em right," he grunted, slamming the tailgate. "Plan to," Riley replied, even. The cottage brimmed fuller, Jasper claiming the loft for Dragon HQ, Elias's books mingling with Riley's vinyls. Nights tangled in the big bed, Riley's body a map Elias memorized. Freckles like stars on brown skin, laughs muffled in pillows. But betrayal's ghost stirred Memorial Day, Brock inviting Jasper to a mill picnic, Kendra's replacement a perky beta named Tate. Elias allowed it, but photos on socials, Jasper beaming beside Brock and Tate, family portrait staged, twisted the knife. "He's moving on," Elias told Riley, voice small over takeout. Riley pulled him onto the couch, legs entwined. "So are you. That's the point." Summer solstice brought heat wave, rare and sticky, driving them to Lake Sammamish for swims. Jasper cannonballed, Riley diving graceful, Elias floating on his back, sun warmed, Riley's hand finding his underwater anchor in the deep. Yet conflict brewed unseen. Riley's job offered a promotion, remote lead on a Portland project, but with travel. Just quarterly, he assured, but Elias's Omega instincts whimpered at the distance, echoes of Brock's absences. "It's fine," Elias lied, kissing him thorough, but doubt seeded, watered by a call from Lena. Brock petitioning for expanded custody, citing stable home with Tate. The hearing loomed again, summer's joy curdling. Elias paced the cottage porch, fireflies winking, Riley joining with beers. "We'll fight. Together." But as stars wheeled overhead, Elias wondered if together meant forever, or just until the next storm scattered them. July's heat clung like a fever, turning Maple Creek streets to shimmering mirages, the sound a distant tease of cool relief. Elias threw himself into the cottage's rhythm. Fresh paint on the garden shed, Jasper's room a riot of glow-in-the-dark stars. Riley hung one sweat-drenched weekend. But the custody petition gnawed, Lena's updates terse, Brock's pushing the traditional pack angle, Tate's pregnant, timely, but slimy. Elias slammed the phone down mid-shift at Haven's page, a romance novel tumbling from the display. Pregnant. The word echoed Brock's old gripes about more pups, dreams Elias had shelved for stability. Customers chattered oblivious, recommending beach reads, while his mind reeled, visions of Jasper shuttling between homes, sense muddled by new siblings. Riley found him after closing, leaning on the bookstore's vintage bike rack, takeout bags swinging. "Stir-fry from that Thai spot, and 0% listening to court bullshit tonight." His smile coaxed Elias's, dim but real, as they biked home, wind whipping doubts. Dinner devolved into tickle wars, Jasper shrieking as Riley attacked with chopsticks, Elias feigning rescue. Laughter banked the fire, but bedtime brought truth. Jasper, tucked under comforters, piped up. "Papa says his new friend has a baby coming. Can I have a brother?" Elias's throat closed, Riley's hand squeezing his from the doorway. "Maybe someday, Sprout, but you're our adventure now." Kisses goodnight. Then downstairs, Elias poured scotch. Neat. Riley joined, legs folded on the rug. "He's testing waters. Kids do that." Not helping. Elias swirled amber, ice clinking judgment. Brock's rewriting history. Me as the villain who stole him away. Riley crawled over, plucking the glass free, lips brushing Elias's knuckles. "You're the hero, the one who stayed." His kiss started soft, apology and affirmation, deepening to hunger as hands roamed. Shirts shed in the lamplight. They moved to the couch, Riley's mouth hot on Elias's chest, tracing scars of stretch marks from Jasper's birth. Marks Brock had once called battle wounds, now revered with tongue and teeth. Elias gasped, arching, fingers threading curls. "Need you." Riley obliged, slick fingers prepping with care, entry slow burn to blaze. They rocked together, sweat slick. Elias's release pulled forth with Riley's whispered litany. Beautiful.
Mine.
Safe. Afterward, spent and sated, Elias traced Riley's spine, vulnerability spilling. What if we lose? Court sees stable alpha home and... Shoo! Riley propped on elbow, amber eyes fierce. We won't. And if hypothetical hell freezes, I'm in. All of it. August brought the hearing, courthouse air-conditioned bite contrasting the humidity outside. Jasper with Mara again, fidgeting with a puzzle in the waiting room. Lena strode in crisp, files under arm. We've got witnesses, teacher, therapist. Riley's statement on your home life. Solid. Brock sat rows away, tape beside him, hand on a barely there bump, her beta glow a calculated prop. His eyes met Elias's. Pleading, possessive, and the old bond twinged, a ghost limb aching. The judge, same as before, scanned documents with arched brow. Brock's counsel droned. Mr. Harlan offers a complete family unit, Your Honor. The Omega's arrangement, cohabiting with a beta, is unconventional, potentially disruptive. Lena rose, voice scalpel. Disruptive? Mr. Thorne provides unwavering care. Exhibits a through D, school reports, medical logs, child psychologist endorsement. The Alpha's history, abandonment at a child's event, intoxication incident, speaks louder than promises. Riley testified, unflinching, Elias built our home from heartbreak. Jasper thrives, top of his class, happy. That's stability, not surnames. Cross-examination probed their unbonded status. Riley's reply velvet steel. Love isn't a contract. It's action. Every day. Elias followed, heart hammering. Brock chose his ex over Jasper's joy. I choose my son, every fever, every first. With Riley, it's partnership, not possession. Voice held, but tears welled on Jasper's drawing clutched in hand. A family of stick figures, 3 hearts above. Brock's turn shattered, voice raw. I was lost, Judge. Kendra pulled me under. But Tate, she's real. And Jasper, he's my blood. I need him to see Alphas provide. Tears tracked his cheeks, Tate's hand comforting. But the judge's pen tapped skeptical. Recess dragged eternal. Vending machine coffee bitter as Elias paced the hall. Riley's arm anchor. Proud of you, he murmured, kiss to temple. Verdict came swift. Custody unchanged. Brock's visits expanded but monitored. Therapy mandatory for all. The court's priority is the child's best interest, the judge intoned. Emotional security trumps tradition. Outside, sun broke through, Brock approaching hesitant. Congrats. For real. Tate smiled tentative, hand extended. Jasper's welcome anytime. Elias shook, wariness thawing slight. Thanks. Let's keep it about him. Driving home, windows down, wind tousling Jasper's hair as Mara dropped him off midway. Did I win? The boy asked, buckling in. Elias laughed, tears free now, relief. We all did, buddy. Fall painted the Cascades gold, harvest festivals in Puyallup drawing them for pie and pumpkin patches. Jasper carved jack-o'-lanterns with Riley, Elias snapping photos, the cottage alive with spice cider and vinyl spins of Dylan. But Riley's travel loomed, first Portland trip in October, a week of client meets. Video calls every night, Riley promised, packing suitcase, Elias's hands lingering on his hips. And this, he pressed a small box into Elias's palm. A silver band, simple. Engraved E+ are inside. Not a claim, a promise. Elias slipped it on, heart full. Back soon. Bet on it. The week stretched, empty bed cold, Jasper's questions plaintive. When's Uncle Ry home? Miss his stories. Elias filled gaps with park playdates, bookstore story hours, but nights brought restlessness. Old heats stirring faint despite suppressants, body mourning absence. Brock's visits bridged some void, supervised at a neutral park, Tate joining with picnic spreads. Jasper warmed to her, sharing frog facts, and Elias watched, bittersweet. "You're good with him," he admitted once, as Tate chased the boy with leaves. She blushed, cradling Bump. "Want this? All of it." Brock's learning, therapy's helping. A truce formed, tentative emails coordinating schedules. Brock's texts clipped but civil. Jasper ace spelling. Proud. Riley's return was airport reunion. Jasper tackling legs, Elias kissing deep in the throng, heedless of stares. "Missed you," breathed against lips. "Missed home." Riley's grin, jet-lagged but bright. November rains returned, gray skies mirroring Elias's unease as suppressants faltered. Heat creeping, slick unwelcome reminder of omega biology. He upped doses, but dreams turned fevered, Brock's form morphing to Riley's, not fantasy blending with beta tenderness. Riley noticed the flush, hands gentle in bed. "Talk to me," Elias confessed, curled against chest. Bodies rebelling. Without a bond, it's loud. Riley nodded, no jealousy, just plan. "We see a doc. Options, new meds, or, if you want, I could." He trailed, hand to Elias's neck. Elias pulled back, fear flickering. "Not yet. Don't want to bind you." Riley cupped his face. "Not binding. Choosing." Thanksgiving gathered them. Mara's table groaning turkey, Jasper's pie lopsided masterpiece. Toasts rang, Riley's arm warm around Elias's chair. But post-feast, Brock's call pierced. Tate's water broke early. Complications. "Can Jasper stay with you?" "I can't." Elias glanced at the table, Riley nodding. "Of course. We're family now." Hospital vigil that night. Jasper asleep on waiting room chairs. Elias pacing halls scented sterile. Brock emerged dawn-weary, eyes red. "Girl. Tiny. But okay." He collapsed into a hug, alpha frame shuddering. First crack in their armor since the split. Elias held, old affection stirring. "Congrats, Brock. She's lucky." Riley arrived with coffee, handing mugs, no awkwardness. "Heard the news. Strong names run in families." Brock managed a watery laugh. "Yeah, thanks for everything." Driving home, Jasper yawning in back, Elias leaned on Riley's shoulder at a light. "That was okay. Better than." Riley kissed knuckles, band glinting. "We're weaving a net. Catches us all." December twinkled, cottage strung lights, Jasper school play casting him as Elf King. Riley built the set, Elias sewed costumes, Brock attending front row, Tate home with newborn Lila. Applause thundered, Jasper bowing to cheers, and backstage, arms enveloped him. Riley's proud, Elias's teary, even Brock's gruff pat. Holiday Eve, snow blanketing rare. They exchanged gifts by fire. Jasper a telescope for stars, Elias a leather journal from Riley, for your stories. Brock dropped a wrap toy train, lingering awkward. Merry Christmas, Eli. To the new normal. As door shut, Elias opened the journal. First page Riley's script. Our beginning. Tears fell, joy pure. But as midnight told, heat surged unbidden. Full bloom, suppressants failed, body demanding. Riley held him through shivers, cool cloths and whispers. I've got you. Always. In the haze, Elias whispered, claim me, please. Riley's eyes searched, then nodded mouth to neck. Bite tender, bond forging not in frenzy but love's quiet fire. Ecstasy crested, not beta-born but true, sealing them. Dawn broke white, Elias waking sated, marked, Riley's hand over the fresh scar. Ours. Jasper burst in, snowballs in mittens. Build fort. Laughter joined. Family forged in frost and flame. But as winter deepened, a letter arrived. Kendra's return, job loss in Portland, seeking reconciliation with Brock. Whispers of old flames rekindled, threatening the fragile peace. Winter's pall lingered into the new year. January winds howling off the sound like scorned lovers, rattling the cottage panes. The claiming bite throbbed faint on Elias's neck, a new hum in his veins. Riley's scent woven permanent, beta steady without Alpha's storm. Jasper noticed first, nose wrinkling at breakfast. You smell like Uncle Rye now. All the time. His grin gap-toothed, acceptance pure. Elias ruffled his hair, pancake steaming. Good thing? Means we're stuck together. Best thing. Jasper forked a bite, syrup dripping. Riley, flipping bacon, shot Elias a wink over the stove, amber eyes soft with shared secret. The bond felt like that. Winks across rooms, pulls during grocery runs, a compass pointing home. No heats commanded it. Just choice, deepened by the bite's vow. But Kendra's letter cast shadows, forwarded by Brock's lawyer. Elegant script pleading closure, hinting at visits, reconciliation veiled as co-parenting advice. Elias found it slipped under the door, anonymous malice and fury boiled. She's poison, he told Riley that night, paper crumpling in fist as Jasper slept upstairs. Riley smoothed it open on the table, reading deliberate. Brock shut her down? Says here he's forwarding for transparency. Elias paced, flannel twisting. Transparency? Or temptation? After Lila, Tate's fragile. He's playing hero again. Riley rose, hands on shoulders, grounding. Call him. Clear the air. We're solid. Don't let ghosts rattle. The call came midday, Elias on bookstore break, rain pattering the tin roof. Brock answered gruff, mill noise fading as he stepped aside. Eli, saw you got the mail. Yeah, Kendra's greatest hits. Sarcasm bit, but Elias reigned. What's the play, Brock? Round 2 at the expense of your new family. Silence stretched, then sigh heavy. No play, tore it up on my end. Tate knows therapy's got us talking real. She's my not now, Eli. Kendra's past tense. Relief flooded, tentative. Good. Jasper asks about Lila. Maybe a playdate. Brock's chuckle rumbled. Yeah, neutral ground. Thanks. For not hating me forever. Don't thank yet. Just be the dad. Hanging up, Elias exhaled, texting Riley. Ghosts banished. Playdate incoming. Spring quickened the land. Daffodils nodding in the cottage yard. Jasper's soccer season kicking off under drizzly skies. Playdate at the park. Lila in a carrier, gurgling at bubbles. Tate chatting easy with Elias while boys kicked balls. Brock grilling hot dogs with Riley. Beta and Alpha circling wary. Then bonding over craft brews. Texas, huh? Brock prodded, flipping patties. Heard you got Elias smiling again. Riley nodded, easy. Earned it. You? Brock glanced at Tate, soft. Learning. Lila's teaching fast. Truce deepened, barbecues at the rental. Now Elias's solo, least cheap. Where stories flowed. Jasper's goals, Lila's firsts, laughter bridging old chasms. Elias watched Riley with Brock, no jealousy, just gratitude, men choosing better. But romance bloomed private. Anniversary weekend. Riley booking a cabin in Olympic National Park. Jasper with Mara. Rainforest enveloped them. Moss-draped giants whispering as they hiked to Solduk Falls. Mist-kissing skin. Year 1. Riley toasted with trail wine. Blankets spread under ferns. Elias leaned into him, bond humming. Feels like always. Night in the cabin, fire crackling. They undressed slow. Reverence for bodies known, scars mapped. Riley's mouth on the bite scar, tongue tracing Drew moans. Elias reciprocated, knees to wood floor, taking Riley deep, salt and cedar flooding senses. Bed claimed them after, positions fluid. Riley topping with rolls that hit stars, Elias chasing with hips grinding, releases synced in gasps. Love you, Riley panted, foreheads pressed. Love you, echoed, tears mingling sweat. Return brought normalcy laced magic, Jasper's school fair, Elias manning the bookstore booth, Riley winning ring toss for a stuffed orca. A conflict simmered external. Lena called, voice edged. Brock's ex, Kendra, filed a complaint. Harassment claim against you. Says you sent the letter. Elias's blood iced. I didn't. No. This bullshit, but it'll drag. Motive? Leverage for Brock, maybe. Or sour grapes. Court again, third time's curse. May blooming mocking. Kendra testified poised. Tears artful. Elias never forgave me. Sent that to sabotage. Her eyes, cold jade, met his, victory veiled as victimhood. Elias countered, voice steel. I forwarded nothing. Built a life without your shadow. Riley's testimony dismantled. Timestamps proving male origin. His calm dismantling her narrative. Brock testified reluctant, damning. Kendra's unstable. Ended it months ago. This, her clawing back. Judge dismissed swift, sanctions on Kendra, restraining order mutual. Outside, Brock pulled Elias aside. Rain starting. Sorry. Again. She's out of our lives. Elias nodded, bridge firmer. For Jasper. Always. Summer solstice party at the cottage. Neighbors, Mara. Even Brock and Tate with Lila cooing. Bonfire roared. Jasper roasting marshmallows. Riley's arm around Elias. Band glinting firelight. Kendra's specter banished. But Elias felt the weight. Betrayals layered. Trust hard won. Midnight. Guests gone. Jasper Abed. Riley drew Elias to the yard. Stars pricking velvet sky. Dance. No music but crickets, bodies swaying close. Perfect, Elias murmured, cheek to chest. Riley's hand slipped to pocket, pulling a velvet box. Ring this time, gold with emerald fleck. Marry me, not for law but love. Us. Tears sprang, yes tumbling. Yes. Engagement news spread. Jasper designing invites with crayons, Mara planning fussily. Brock's toast at the diner. Awkward but earnest. To second chances. All around. Fall wedding. Leaves turning. Small affair at the creek. Vows under the maple, Jasper ringbearer. Riley's sister from Austin officiating beta style. I do, Elias said. Band sliding home, bond singing. Honeymoon cabin redux, but with promises kept. Lazy days, nights endless, bodies celebrating union. Elias woke one dawn to Riley's sketchpad. Portrait of them, tangled sleeping, love in lines. Life deepened. Jasper's 10th birthday, dual cakes. One from Elias, dragon-themed. One from Brock, train set. Riley's promotion stabilized. No more travel, home office amid books. But climax brewed subtle. Tate's health scare. Postpartum echo, depression creeping. Brock called late, voice frayed. She's spiraling. Lila cries constant. Can't. Elias and Riley went. Dinner delivered. Tate's tears over tea. Feel like failing. Riley sat with Brock outside. Stars witness. You won't. Lean in. Elias held Tate's hand. We all falter. That's family. Healing wove them tighter, Pax modern. Barbecues blending scents. Jasper bridging with ease. Thanksgiving, table full. Lila toddling, Jasper's tales. Toasts to resilience. But as pie sliced, Kendra's final strike landed. Anonymized email to Brock. Photos of Elias's old apartment days. Implying instability. Attached to custody threat. Rage unified. Brock forwarded to Lena. End this. Investigation traced Kendra's IP. Desperate, jobless, grasping. Final court, December chill. Kendra crumbling under oath. Lies fracturing. Judge barred contact permanent therapy ordered her. Outside, snow falling soft. Brock hugged Elias brief. Brothers now. Elias smiled, Riley's hand in his. Something like. Cottage aglow, holiday lights. Jasper's wonder at first real snowman. Riley pulled Elias to porch, breath clouds. Through it all, you're my north. Kiss sealed. Snowflakes melting on skin. love's warmth eternal. Yet as year turned, Elias felt stirrings. Heat true, bond amplified, body whispering more. Pup? He broached one night, Riley's eyes widening joy. Family grows, Riley agreed, hand to belly not yet swollen. Life's tapestry richened, betrayal's threads turned gold. The new year dawned crisp, January's frost etching the cottage windows like lace, but inside warmth bloomed, Elias's hand often drifting to the subtle curve beginning under his flannel. A secret shared with Riley in quiet mornings over decaf and whispers. Jasper caught on quick, pressing ear to belly during story time. Baby brother's kicking already? His excitement bubbled, drawing Mara's coos at Sunday brunches, where Lila now babbled alongside, the table a cacophony of tiny voices and adult laughter. Riley adapted seamless, beta practicality shining. Prenatal apps downloaded, nursery sketches on napkins, foot rubs that melted Elias into the couch. You're glowing, he'd say, kissing the swell, and Elias believed it. Not the forced shine of old suppressants, but authentic, bond-nurtured. Brock's pack integrated fuller, weekly dinners at the mill house where Tate, stronger now, passed Lila for cuddles, her eyes bright with medicated clarity. You were right, she told Elias one evening, nursing by the fire. Leaning in saves. Elias smiled, Jasper building blocks with Brock nearby. We all save each other. Kendra's shadow faded final. Her move east unremarked. A chapter closed without fanfare. But echoes lingered in dreams. Elias waking sweat damp. Phantom betrayal twisting the knife. Riley held him then, murmurs of past and present. Love-making gentle reclaim. Fingers interlaced, bodies slow dancing to climax. The bite scar a talisman against night fears. Spring swelled with Elias's belly, ultrasounds revealing a girl. Jasper dubbing her Star, for the constellation on the scan. Soccer fields traded for garden plots. Riley tilling soil for carrots. Jasper helped plant. Mud-caked grins. Wedding bands glinted in sun. Vows renewed casual. Still yes. Always. Conflict crested subtle. May's warmth teasing blooms. Brock's promotion to foreman strain time. Visits lagging. Jasper's questions sharpening. Papa busy with work. Miss him. Elias soothed with park days. But the boy's quiet moods tugged. Echo of his own childhood. Omega dad vanished to city lights. Riley broached it over ice cream. Cones dripping on picnic bench. Talk to Brock. Co-parenting's a dance. Steps sink or toes get stepped. Call made. Brock's voice tinny over line. Mill hum background. Guilty. Lila's teething hell. But yeah, weekend campout? Us three. The outing rattlesnake ledge again. Tents pitched under stars mended. Jasper roasted s'mores. Brock sharing lumberjack yarns. Elias and Riley exchanging glances content. Team. Brock toasted with cocoa. Fist bump to Riley. Appreciate you stepping up. Riley clapped his back. Family's the team. Summer solstice marked halfway. Baby shower modest. Mara's backyard, streamers and sandwiches. Gifts piled. Onesies from Tate. A mobile from Gertie the clerk. Jasper announced names. Settling on Nova for her fiery scan spark. Laughter flowed. But Elias tired early. Feet swelling. Riley's arms steady homeward. Heat hit full then, bond amplified, nights fevered despite Riley's care. Cool baths, fans whirring. Hurts? Elias gasped one dusk. Contractions false but fierce. Riley's panic-veiled calm. Breathe, doc tomorrow. Appointment confirmed. Healthy, but early labor signs. Bed rest light. Elias chafed. Bookstore shifts cut. Days blurring novels and naps. Jasper's drawings papering walls. Riley juggled work, meals, endless laundry, his sketches piling. Portraits of Elias's curve, Jasper's mischief, visions of four. August storm broke literal, thunder rattling as Elias labored true. Waters mid-dinner. Riley's face ashen but action fast. Hospital. Now. Brock met them outdoors. Jasper corralled with Mara. Tate holding Lila in waiting glow. Hours blurred, contractions crashing. Riley's hand crushed in grip. His litany, "You're strong." Almost. Push after push, cry piercing. Nova entered world wailing. 7 pounds of fury and pink. Elias weeping as she latched. Riley cutting cord with trembling shears. "She's perfect," he breathed, kissing Elias's brow, then Nova's downy head. Brock peeked in post, eyes soft. "Another fighter. Congrats, Dad." Elias, exhausted bliss, nodded. "Uncle Brock honors?" "Damn right." Homecoming chaos joyful. Jasper's awe at sister's tiny fists. Nights fragmented by cries. Days a relay. Riley burping, Elias nursing, Brock dropping meals, Tate texting tips. Sleep stolen in snatches, but love filled gaps. Nova's Coos elixir. Fall deepened bonds. Pumpkin patches with double strollers. Jasper big brother proud. But betrayal's final twist came October. Kendra's postcard from Boston. Apology scrawled, "Found peace. Wish you all same." Elias burned it in the fire pit. Ashes to wind. Riley's arm tight. Closed. November rains softened to mist. Thanksgiving feast epic. Mara's turkey. Brock's pie. Lila toddling to Nova's bassinet. Toasts rang, to Nova, to seconds, to choices redeemed. Winter wrapped them. First Christmas fourfold. Stocking stuffed. Jasper's telescope unveiling Orion. Nova's first lights wide-eyed. Eve bonfire, snow dusting. Riley pulled Elias aside. Breath white. 1 year wed. Best choice. Kiss snowflake soft. Family calling them back. As spring hinted, Nova's first laugh bubbled. Jasper's school play elf again, whole pack cheering. Life's conflicts. Betrayals. Courts. Ghosts. Forged not scars but strength. Compassion's quiet fire. Elias, rocking Nova under maple boughs. Riley's hand in his. Jasper chasing fireflies. Knew. True love wasn't grand gestures. But this, chosen daily, free and fierce. In America's weave of packs modern, they thrived. Identities owned. Hearts unbound. Compassion the truest knot.